Hey everyone, it's BrowncoatNerd. We've got another gun review for you. Today we're going to be going over the Polish Radom TTC Tokarev. This particular one was made in 1952. Doesn't have the best stamping there, which is kind of unfortunate. That was a little bit of a bummer when I picked this up. The Circle 11 would indicate the Radom arsenal in Radom, Poland. I picked this up back in July of 2015 from Classic Firearms. At the time that I grabbed this, the Romanian Tokarevs were everywhere. It was like a Romanian invasion. And I was looking into getting a Tokarev, kind of wanted some guns to go along with kind of a World War II theme. Really wanted a Russian Tokarev. Those had pretty much dried up. And so I was going to get a Romanian one, but right before I ordered it, I noticed this Polish one. And it was like $10 or $20 more, had a small premium over the Romanian ones, but I hadn't seen them really anywhere else. And at that time, I was completely unfamiliar with Radom. So I figured I'd go ahead and get the Polish one, plus the serrations on the slide here. The early Russian ones, the slide serrations looked like this. So, World War II era Tokarevs would have this look to them. Whereas the later production Russian ones and the Romanian ones and pretty much all the other countries that made them, which is a lot of countries, they just had your standard serrations, which were pretty much the same kind of grain and everything as the P64 there. So Poland had adopted this in 1947. As their sidearm, and they would use this until 1959, or at least produce it until 1959. It was eventually replaced by the P64 here. Once Russia switched to the Makarov, a lot of countries made their own version of little handguns that were chambered in the 9x18 Makarov. So this is what replaced the TTC from the Radom Poland arsenal. Whereas Russia, they started making these in 1930, which was actually the TT30. It had some improvements made. Eventually came back out as the TT33. And Russia stopped making these sometime in the early to mid 50s and replaced it, like I said, with the Makarov. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about this Tokarev, besides the round, and I'll get to that in a minute, but the actual mechanical design. If you can picture a Colt 1903 and a Colt 1911 just getting really drunk on vodka one night, this is what their love child would look like. There's a lot of features, especially the look of the gun, that are, inspired by the Colt 1903 and other features that were inspired by the 1911. So it's kind of interesting. It's a very Colt-esque gun, but given it with that, Cold War Russian flair. So the other interesting thing is this round that it fires. This is the 7.62 by 25. It's the nice little bottleneck round. One of the interesting things, and if you saw my video on the Makarov here, I discussed kind of how it can fire 380, but 9x18, but not 9x18 Makarov will jam in 380 guns. Kind of the same idea with this round, but not quite, a little more dark. The German Mauser 7.63 pistol round, the dimensions are essentially the exact same as the Tokarev round. The only difference is this Tokarev round produces a lot more pressure. So you can fire the Mauser round in a Tokarev, and it's just going to be like a little target round. Whereas if you were to load the Tokarev round in a Mauser, it's very likely it's going to, exceed its pressure limits and have some critical failure there. So just kind of an interesting little side note how Russia seems like they like to do that with their ammo. Some of the features of this gun, not too many here. We have your standard military sights. They're kind of tall. That very big Bic lighter-esque hammer there. No serrations along the top, and like I said, the Polish one has the Circle 11 there. the year and the serial number. Ooh. In case you didn't know, this is kind of a... I saw that serial number. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, not too fancy there. The front sight is not adjustable, and it looks like this one has had something going on with it. It's kind of chipped in that one corner, which sometimes when the right light reflects off it, it's rather annoying. I've been thinking about kind of filing it down so it's more even. But I have a feeling this gun has been refinished, re-arsenaled, however you want to say that, and then gotten a little more mileage on it since then as well. The frame and the slide, those serial numbers match. However, unfortunately, the barrel serial numbers do not match, and the inside of the barrel's got a little bit of wear on it. I mean, it's definitely got rifling, but it's not in near as good a shape as some of the surplus pistols I've been getting, especially lately. And speaking of that, a lot of people talk about how accurate this gun is. This one, for me at least, is not the most accurate. I have noticed, the more I've shot it, and I say this a lot, but I've been getting a little bit better. I had bought some of that surplus Romanian ammo. You can still find that a lot of places. I felt I got by far the worst accuracy out of that stuff. Like when I was shooting that, it was all over the place. And then I got some Red Army Standard along with the brass PPU. And I feel like both of those rounds do a lot better than that Romanian surplus. So I'd probably just kind of stay away from that stuff. Also, it is corrosive, so just keep that in mind if you do use that. Be pretty prompt about cleaning your gun out. One of the features you've heard me complain about before in other videos, this stupid American import style safety. This seems to be the pretty common one. You'll see them back here too. These are safeties that were added for importation reasons. What are those reasons? I don't know. But they wanted a manual safety on the gun. This pistol does have a half cock. It's a half cock right now. It's a single action only. These guns have been safety checked. Single action only. So when it's half cock, the hammer is not directly up against the plunger or the firing pin. And then, of course, there's your cocked. So even though it has this half-cock safety, they still put this ugly thing on there, which sucks because, as you can see, they've had to cut into the grip so that could go there. It's kind of interesting. They actually punched a little hole, or an indention, not a hole, but an indention, so they had a spot to put some paint. They cut out your slide release here, or slide lock, however you want to word it. Cut that out, obviously cut a hole in this side of the frame. And cut a hole in this side of the frame for the backing of it. And if you notice, they had to file away a little bit at the tab there, which you use to break down the gun. And it's really annoying. And as you can see, I have marred the living crap out of this poor guy. This gun is how I discovered the Birchwood Casey cold bluing pin. Worked pretty good. Probably need to touch it up again. But yeah, so that's just... It's kind of annoying for a stupid law. You end up cutting these guns up and making them ugly. They have started importing some of the Yugoslavian versions, which have some upgrades. They have a slightly longer grip. They get one extra round. This is 8+1, by the way, so the Yugoslavian ones. Let's see, the M70A, which is 9mm, and the M57, I believe, is the model variation for the Yugoslavian full-size Tokarev. So those will be 9+1 with the slightly longer grip. My understanding is those slightly longer mags do work in these. They'll just kind of stick out a little bit. So, if you got a non-Yugoslavian Tokarev, you have a 1-round extended mag option. Speaking of countries that made this, it is a long list of countries that made Tokarev variations, including China, Hungary, North Korea, Pakistan, Poland, which is what this is, Romanian, which is by far, it seems to be the most common, even though right now they're kind of not on the market too much. Vietnam even made some. Yugoslavia, obviously, they made some along with some different variations. This is kind of a baby Tokarev and a infant Tokarev. That one operates a little bit differently, but obviously a lot of the design cues and features are from the Tokarev. So yes, and currently they're still made in Serbia, former Yugoslavia, but Zastava. They still make variations of this, so that's kind of interesting. It's a old model that keeps getting produced. Trying to think what else. When I shot this, I've had it for a couple years. I haven't shot it a whole heck of a bunch. Maybe 200 rounds through it over the years, maybe more. I don't know. But I haven't had any malfunctions. Every once in a while, the slide will not lock back on the last round. I haven't gone through the trouble of marking the magazine, see if it's the same magazine. I'm sure the springs are just kind of weak, and you can actually get brand new replacement springs. Wolf even makes springs for this, which is kind of interesting and tells you how popular these guns are. So that's not a big deal. That's an easy fix. I just haven't done it yet. Overall, these Tokarevs, they're pretty fun. Like I say, it's a hot rod little round. A lot of the rounds that you get, it's going to produce a pretty hefty fireball, so that's always kind of fun for poops and giggles. Not to mention, if you've got a Cold War collection or a World War II collection, they're kind of almost a must-have. And they still have those kind of classic lines of the old, Colt 1903. Also, by the way, I failed to mention, this originally would have had a lanyard loop right here. And I will say, for Classic, when I ordered this, I ordered the hand select, and they contacted me, and they only had a few of the hand select grades left, and or rather, they only had one of the hand select grades left, and they're like, it's missing the lanyard loop. Do you want to downgrade, or do you want to go ahead and get this one? So I was like, I can live without a lanyard loop. I only plan on getting one Tokarev. Yeah, and then I got that, and if you want to count that as a Tokarev, and I'm looking forward to M57. But anyways, so that's the story on that. Yeah, it's a fun little gun. You're not really seeing them too much in the market. The ones you are seeing are going to be the Yugoslavian ones. And a lot of those are brand new production, which some people prefer. And you're getting a lot of surplus that's coming out on the market as well. Some of the Yugoslavian surplus ones even have a Glock-styled safety. So they do not have this ugly, hideous manual safety added on. You can just replace that trigger group with a stock one, and boom, you've got like an actual Tokarev. A lot of the Yugo ones too, Zastava, are making them with slide safeties, much like that right there. So they're also coming in that way with a factory safety on them. All in all, Tokarevs are fun. Like I said, they're kind of a must-have for Cold War collections or World War II collections. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. Just wanted to show you guys my Polish Tokarev. She's made a lot of little guest appearances in videos, and I figured it's time she got her own review. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and have yourself a great day.